I am Nick Shattuck, and I am the president of the East Providence Education Association. I want to begin by welcoming all of you, our dedicated teachers, our education support professionals, and union members. Thank you for showing up today, for standing together and making your voices heard. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the EPEA executive board members and building representatives for your support in organizing and assisting with today. I also want to thank our friends at NEA Rhode Island, particularly Executive Director Mary Barton, for her leadership and partnership. This turnout is a powerful reminder that when we come together in unity, there is nothing we can't accomplish. This rally is about respect, it's about fairness, and it's about standing strong as a community that believes deeply in the value of public education. You are the people who make it possible every single day. On a personal note, I was born and raised here in East Providence, and I am proud to say that I am a product of the East Providence public school system. The schools in this city helped shape who I am, and the educators in those classrooms helped guide me to where I stand today. That's something I carry with me every single day in this work. There is a deep sense of pride, a professional pride, a townie pride, in being part of this community in fighting for the future of our schools. Over the past several weeks, I've had the opportunity to visit schools across the district. I've listened. Listening to your concerns, your experiences, and your ideas have been incredibly important. Those conversations matter. They ground this work in reality, and they ensure that what we are fighting for reflects what you are living every day in the job that you do. You are going to hear more about what I learned from your visit, from the visits of schools, when your fellow teachers speak tonight at school committee. And what I've seen and heard is extremely clear. Our educators are working extremely hard. You are showing up early. You are staying late. You are going above and beyond for our students. You are meeting academic needs, supporting social and emotional growth, and doing everything in your power to help every child succeed. That level of dedication deserves more than appreciation. It deserves respect, and it deserves fairness, and it deserves support. That is why we are here today. Respect means recognizing educators as the professionals they are, in valuing your voices and ensuring your voices are heard. Fairness means a contract that reflects the work and your commitment. It means the conditions, the compensation, and the support necessary for you to do your job, and for you to do your job well. In unity. Unity is what brings us here today. We are strongest when we stand together, not just as educators, but as a community rooted in shared pride. Pride in our profession, pride in our union, and pride in our city. That townie pride is real. It's about believing East Providence, believing in our schools, and believing that educators deserve the very best. So today, we stand united, we stand proud, and we stand firm in our message. Respect our educators and deliver a fair contract. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your passion. And thank you for continuing to stand together for each other, for our students, and for the future of East Providence. Together, we will be heard. Our first speaker this evening is Valerie Lawson, president of NEA Rhode Island and president of the Rhode Island Senate. Val has been a strong advocate for public education, our students, and our teachers. I'd like to introduce Val Lawson right now.
I'm not as tall as Nick. Thanks so much, Nick. And it's such an honor to join you here all this evening at this rally for respect in a fair contract. You know why? Because you deserve it. common themes. And the first one is, I'm a Townie too. And I know, because I worked along so many of you, how incredibly talented you are and dedicated to this community, in this school. Because I went to school in this district like Nick, and I taught in this district for over 32 years, and I'm so proud to be one of you. I want to thank you this evening for your efforts for our community, for showing up tonight, and for a fair contract for your union. And some of you in this room, I look around, I wondered when I walked through the door, some of you are old enough to remember, we faced some difficult times. I was the union president here over a decade ago during a very difficult political and economic time. But you know what? Those of you in this room know this. We all persevered. We were successful. Why? Because we were united, organized, and we shared a collective voice. We shared our story with this community, and they valued us. Your efforts then, your efforts now, do not go unnoticed in this community. You made a difference then, and your voices here tonight will make a difference too. I'd like to take a moment to recognize Nick. Nick is my successful union president. I know how hard that job is, and I know how hard it is to serve on the executive board and be a building rep, because that's how I started, right? I served in every single capacity in the East Providence Education Association. I'm very proud of it, and I'm proud to be your president at the state level. You are so fortunate to have Nick advocating for you. Thank you, Nick. I also too want to recognize my partner at NEARI, Mary Bodden. So Mary and I were actually local presidents at the same time. Mary and I go way back to the Rhode Island Geography Education Alliance, but we were both local presidents at the same time. And Mary has spent her entire life, later she became a UNISERV director and then now executive director, advocating for working people. And she's a great advocate for all of you. So I want to make it clear to everybody in this room today, this is more than about a contract. It's always more about a contract. And that second theme I mentioned earlier, it really is about respect, about what you do every day. So this evening you have shown up. We're going to stand together here and in that auditorium before that school committee. And history tells us, and we have this history here in East Providence, when educators stand united, we win. We win for ourselves, we win for our students, we win for our schools in this community. And that's what we are all about. That's why we're here this evening. So I'm asking you all this evening, throughout this process, this contract campaign, to stay strong and united, keep on lifting your voices, because people need to hear you, and they will, and they do appreciate you. And I want to let you know, we at NEARI are with you, shoulder to shoulder throughout this, and every day you're in the classroom. So together we're going to work to ensure that you have a fair contract. Again, thanks for showing up tonight, and thank you for what you do for East Providence.
Thank you, Val. How about another round of applause for Val Long? Our next speaker is Patrick Crowley, president of the Rhode Island AFL-CIO. Patrick has always fought to ensure workers are respected, supported, and treated fairly. He has dedicated his life to supporting working families. Patrick?
Thank you, Nick, and thank you everyone for having me here today. I'll be brief because I think I'm the only non-townie on the speaking program, and I know my place when I enter into the city of East Providence. So, really, I wanted to say first, thank you to everyone who did the work of organizing your turnout. I mean, I look around this room and I see a sea of red. I see educators up and down the rows. I mean, this is impressive. This is important. It's important for the people of the school committee to understand that you are united. It's important for the people of this community to understand that the educators that are part of the EPEA are standing together as one. And I know that that's hard to do sometimes, but now it's a critically important moment. You know, the Rhode Island AFL-CIO represents 80,000 working people across the state of Rhode Island. And like Val, and like some of the other folks in this room, I was here 15 years ago when this community tried to turn its back on you, and we wouldn't let them. And we won because we stood united. We stuck with the union, we stuck with the leadership, and we made it clear to the people of this community that when educators stand up, you have to hear what they have to say. When educators stand up, you have to respect us. And you have to be willing to work with us. Now, one of the things we say in the labor movement is that solidarity is what powers us. Solidarity is this idea that your fight is my fight. It's not a question of if you show up for me, I show up for you. It's that every time working people stand up, whether they're educators, supermarket workers, steel workers, or any of the other affiliates of the AFL-CIO, we stand together because solidarity isn't just a word, it's a verb. It's something that we do. It's something that we believe in deep inside of ourselves because we know that the only way working people like us, whether we're professionals, paraprofessionals, or anything else in between, when you stand together and you stand up, people will pay attention. And we're going to make sure that the school committee pays attention, and we're going to make sure that this entire community knows that the educators of East Providence are unified and that we will stick together. Thank you very much, and let's go get them.
Patrick, thank you again for being here. Now I would like to introduce Mayor Bob Da Silva, a champion for the residents of East Providence and a champion for public education. Mayor Bob.
Thank you, Nick. It's an absolute honor to be here with Nick and all of these incredible teachers. Of course, our Secretary of State, former educator right here in this building, our Senate President, Patrick, all of the other labor leaders. Look, I've been on the side of labor since I was a state rep when I was one of a small handful of people that voted against the pension reform that really destroyed people's pensions and their opportunity to retire. Some people who were on the cusp of retirement and then all of a sudden had that ripped out from underneath them. So I'm proud to have been standing with labor back then. And as a mayor, I'm proud of the fact that our administration has supported our teachers throughout the last 7 years that I've been in office. When the people of East Providence voted on 2 separate occasions to support building this beautiful building and building Martin Middle School and the pre-K, we made it work. We made that financing work. When the school department comes to us with a budget and a contract for the teachers, we don't try to eviscerate it or cut it. We support it. We find the funding. So I'm very proud. Very proud of the fact also, for those of you who may or may not be aware, my wife is also an NEA member in Barrington. She's a high school teacher. So I will tell you from a personal perspective, and I don't think most people get this, a lot of people don't appreciate what teachers do. My wife chose to teach Spanish, and a lot of that requires listening, reading. The assessments are very lengthy. She does more work on the weekend and on her own time at home than I care to even share. I don't think people understand that. So we understand that teachers, they're not just teaching when they're here during the school day. They're teaching when they go home and they're preparing the lessons and correcting the programs and getting everything put together. So it's an honor to be here with all of you. It's an honor to be here with my fellow elected leaders. And I just want to share with you that we have always supported our teachers. The community supports the teachers. And you are what gives rise to that whole Townie pride. Townie pride never sleeps, according to our Secretary of State. But the reality is, when I speak with residents, it's the education, the interaction they have with the teachers that really mean a lot to them. So I thank you for the work you do day in and day out. Thank you.
Before I introduce our last speaker, I'd also like to recognize a couple of people in the room. Mr. Kevin Braga, he's a local union member. And Miguel Santos from UFC government. Thank you. In our last speaker, Secretary of State Greg Amore, former EP teacher and athletic director and big supporter of public education and fair treatment of educators. Mr. Secretary.
I appreciate what Nick has done and the board members, and I appreciate this turnout. And I truly feel at home here, more at home than I do at the State House. When I speak to people around the state, many of them don't know that I was a longtime history teacher and athletic director. And I say, before I was demoted to Secretary of State, I was an educator. And you know, it's a joke, but it's not. I have no doubt that the impact that I had in the classroom over those 27 years in the classroom, and then as an athletic director, are not going to be matched by anything I do in this office, no matter how much attention this office gets. And that's just a fact. What you do every day is so important, and yet oftentimes it doesn't feel like that. And you hear it from all quarters. And I can tell you, as someone with a lot of gray hair, the more you move on in life, the more you meet former students, and there are lots of former students of mine sitting here today, you hear them say things that you never expect. You may have thought they weren't listening at all. You may have thought that you did not have an impact on them. You may have thought that they were, they were there, they were polite, they were doing what they had to do. And then, and I know you've experienced this, you've already experienced it, but when you get old, you really experience it, because then the adults can make those comments to you and they really resonate. And that's a pay me later thing, but let's talk about paying me now. The reality is that in Rhode Island, you need to make over $225,000 to afford a median priced home, which means that two top step teachers at $90,000 plus apiece can't buy a home. Can't buy a home. So we're living in an environment today where the most important people doing the most important jobs are unable to live in the communities in which they do them. And we have to reverse that. Now there's a bunch of policy that can reverse that, but one of the things that helps reverse that is to make sure that your wages keep up, to make sure that what you're paid reflects what you do. And that's no small thing. And we have evidence, as the mayor has pointed out, we have evidence twice now. The people of East Providence have voted overwhelmingly to build this magnificent high school and to build a new middle school. Twice, overwhelmingly voted for that. Well, bricks and mortar are great, and this place is great, and so is Martin, but it's the people who work in these buildings that are really important, and the investment in them is far more important than the investment in brick and mortar. And so when we talk about respect and fairness, yeah, it means money. It does. You are the voice of the students in the classroom. We don't talk about that enough. And every poll you see, every survey you see, do you like your classroom teacher? And the answer is, I don't like my classroom teacher. I love my classroom teacher. Across the board, people trust you. They like you. In lots of cases, they love you, right? So the noise is different. The noise you hear outside, the political noise you hear, the noise you hear sometimes from an administration that doesn't always get it. Well, the reality is you are the heart and soul of a school district, which means you're the heart and soul of a community, which means you're a heart and soul of a state, which means you're the heart and soul of a nation. That's the reality here. No person who has ever accomplished anything in this country has done so without the support of a great teacher. And we have to have that reflected in how you're treated. We have to have that reflected. This morning I was listening to NPR, and the Baltimore, Maryland school superintendent said, we have to go back to direct instruction. We have to go back to pulling our students away from the screen. We have to go back. No kidding. No kidding. You know who could have told you that? We could have told you that. One of the things that is most frustrating, and Val knows that, talking about going way back, Val and I go back to the 8th grade. But one of the things that is so frustrating for us is to hear people who've never spent a day in a public school talk about what's good for a public school, who've never had their children spend a day in a public school, talk about what's best. So let me say that. Let me say thank you, because both of my children went through the East Providence schools K through 12, and we were proud to have them in these schools, and they have both done remarkably well. And they were both extraordinarily well prepared to take on college. And they did really well and graduated on time and early, as a matter of fact, in both cases. And that's because they were ready. They were ready because they went to Kent Heights Elementary School. They were ready because they went to Riverside Middle School. They were ready because they went to East Providence High School. And what I know is that is the education that every son and daughter is getting in this school department. And so it has to be recognized, it has to be appreciated, and you have to be compensated in two ways. You have to be compensated in your wallet, but you have to be compensated with the respect that the people who are making decisions make those decisions based on your input, first and foremost, and that you always get the benefit of the doubt, and that when the questions are tough, the answers should be coming from you. Not from policy, not from something that comes down from the Rhode Island Department of Education, not something that someone has proposed who's running for an office, whose children have never attended a public school. It should come from you. It should come from you. And that's what respect is in this particular case, right? We're not talking about specific dollars and cents. We're talking about respecting you as a professional, respecting you as support professionals, and making sure that the people of East Providence know this story, because when they know the story, they are not afraid to invest in education. They have proven that time again. I'm thrilled to be with the folks who are here, Patrick and Val and the mayor. By the way, there aren't very many mayors or town managers that would show up at a union rally around what a new contract looks like. So he's not afraid to stake his claim with you, and that's important because you're going to be held to that. I'm honored to be here. I apologize for not wearing a red tie, but I haven't worn a red tie with a blue suit in about 10 years. You can figure out why. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this time, the school committee meeting is scheduled to start at 6 o'clock. We are on the agenda, public comment is on the agenda first. So we would ask that we have some light refreshments over here, so you can grab some drinks and some light refreshments, and then if you can, be so kind to walk with us down to the auditorium and listen to your colleagues speak. We have 3 people ready to go, so we are really looking forward to that and supporting them. And all we ask is that when they conclude their remarks, that we give a nice round of applause for them. Thank you so much.